Hello guys, it's CP here. We're gonna make a Elemental Shaman guide for MOP a little bit. I will do a quick one here. I've been having some people asking me to make one, so I will just show a little bit of gear, how I think, and some stuff you can think of when you're playing Elemental Shaman in Mr. Pandaria. So the first thing we start with is your talents. It's not much you're gonna be changing a lot. You're gonna be mostly just playing Nature's Guardian literally every game. It's pretty much your strongest choice in pretty much every matchup. You would probably think that Astro Shift could be good, but I don't know. It feels a bit buggy and the 40% doesn't feel that strong. Also, you already have a kind of strong wall, the Shamanistic Rage that you can use while in stun. And the Bulwark is it's not that much absorbed, to be honest. But yeah, in the second row here, you could pick either Earth Grab or Windwalk. It depends a little bit what you're playing. So if let's say if you're playing TC, you can always gonna want to use your Windwalk for your warrior, so you can connect on mages, hunters, etc. Try to help do it for him. But it's a bit situational. You might want to use it for yourself if you're getting snared, or if you want to kite, you can like Thunderstorm a warrior and press your Windwalk to get away. Earthgrip could be a great choice if you're playing LSM and you put it, if you're playing LSM or LSP or LSD, whatever, and you like want to play root, and you can like root the warrior, and your warlock can maybe get away for a bit. Most of the time they will be tunneling your warlock. But yeah, Frozen Power I don't really ever play, because you don't really have the time, because you always kind of want to Flame Shock and Earth Shock for the debuffs. For example, if you're facing a melee and you're not melee, and if you're not playing into a warrior, or if you don't have a warrior in your team, like you actually whatever Earth Shock you put, you do this kind of weakened blows that reduces their physical damage by 10%, which is not extremely much, but it's something. It's pretty good to keep up. Not you're gonna think about that much, but it's good to have keep up. So yeah, it's kind of. I mean, this is kind of normal stance. You could pick Earth Grab, but most of the time you will always kind of pick Windwalk. Here, Call of the Elements is quite very strong in arenas, at least these days. If you kind of want to be a little bit, how do you say, witty, you could go the move totem like you play on retail, but just that you can kind of reset all your totems like Tremor and Healing Stream, Windwalk, Grounding, etc., which most games are gonna be overall less stronger in most times. Like, let's say you're playing with a Mistweaver or Druid, you get feared, you can reset, you have another Tremor, which is gonna make you have better tempo, and they're not gonna have as much tempo. In MOP is a lot about if you just have tempo and doing good stuff. Pretty much that's kinda it. For this talent tree, I would just recommend playing NS. You can NS Hex, you can NS Earthquake, stop drinks. Use the spell haste that you get by default is very huge. And yeah, it's just overall the best choice here, I would say. It could be a bit fun to play some Echo of Elements, but I feel like the proc, I haven't played much around it, but I've heard as well that the proc chance is not that big. And that's kind of it makes the use of this not as strong. But if you want to play around, just having some fun, maybe playing Eleblast and I don't know, just want to shoot some meatballs or go full mastery and Echo of Elements, you could do that. So here, this is the talent trees where I swap a lot, kind of. So I kind of like using Ancestor Guidance as a like a defensive cooldown. It's a bit awkward on an Ele Shaman sometimes, because you have to pray a little bit that you get your Lava Burst proc. One of the best uses I know to use this on is kind of when you face a warrior and he pops Skull Banner and you Lava Burst the Skull Banner. Let's say this is the Skull Banner, and then you pop like Ancestor Guidance and then you Lava Burst the Skull Banner. Because the Skull Banner takes the same damage as like this target damage, so it's gonna be like the most healing you can do because it transfers your damage, to healing, which is gonna be your best, like stuff. But I kind of play this talent. It's only gonna be these two talents you're gonna be playing. Obviously, this one is completely useless, but this one I use mostly into bursty comps, like I would say into Rogue Mage, into KFC, or you have to heal a little bit, you are gonna take it as a shaman, or your teammate might take it, so you can like help out a little bit with healing while you're healer in CC. That's kind of the best time to use it. Or when you have big damage, just to keep your team topped. Rushing streams, I kind of like playing into LL lock. If you're facing like LSM or stuff where you're just taking passively, just everyone in your team is just taking passively decent amount of damage, I would recommend you playing this. So it will heal a decent amount. So here in the last talent tree, I kind of always, I actually haven't swapped once ever from this. But I can see like the charm in all of these in some matchups. For example, Primal Elle, I've seen some people on NA playing it. To be honest, for me, I don't know. I don't really see the extra damage on your Fire L is that extremely big, but it could be not bad. I mean, you do get a small wall on your Fire L and extreme damage, but you have to be a bit witty to use it. Elle Blast will be fun to be used, but if you get kicked, you're just, how do you say, you're just kind of stuck and you cannot do damage. So yeah, this one I will probably play on lower ratings just to play for fun maybe, but this is kind of just your standard overall, just your choice to pick. You should always kind of, this is the one, just overall if you don't know what to do, just pick this one, like, cannot really go wrong. And then for Glyph Shaman, so this one is always mandatory. Like you will play this one 100% of the games. You're never gonna change this. And here I kind of like playing HP on totems, so your totems don't get killed completely 0.1. But it's like these two I kind of always play mandatory. Like these two are always there. But this one you could change something like Shamanistic Rage Glyph or Ghostful for Healing Stream and Shorter Hex. These are like the only ones you're gonna be playing with. But yeah, it depends a little bit what you're facing. So I kind of like when you face other Elder Shamans, I like swapping the Healing Stream Glyph from my Flame Shock one. And then depending on what I face, if I play into like a Thunder, I will still kind of play because it's an Elder Shaman, but because I'm biased. No, but you wanna reduce their damage because it's gonna be a mana game. So what you want to have is like HP on totems, so they don't kill your 5 HP totem healing streams, so you can have some use for your glyph that you're playing with the healing stream. But yeah, into anything else, kind of you just want to play. This is kind of your normal setup. Let's say if you will face like LMH, then you will be a bit more awkward. Then you might just remove the healing stream glyph for shamanistic rage glyph. But yeah, it's nothing really special. This kind of is what you're facing, and you just swap around. I mean, you can if you want. Could go like, let's say if you're facing something like LMH, you could play Shamanistic Rage Glyph and 5 like healing stream here, but your healing stream is gonna die very quick. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much all about kind of glyphs and talents. There aren't really anything special more than, you know, preference for personal preferences, you know. But yeah. For gear, I kind of like playing 27.5% haste, and obviously you have to have 6% hit, unless you're playing dwarf. Then if you use the mace, you actually only need 5% because you get 1% expertise for being dwarf. And I will say the best races for alliance is dwarf, and on horde obviously it's orc, because then you can have the stun meta gem. But yeah, this is kind of what I'm playing. I'm playing this style, like this gear. I will show it a bit slow so you can like watch. I like in general just playing a lot of haste. Yeah, you can see what I'm reforging. I'll just do it a bit slow. And yeah, I mean this is kind of, you kind of don't ever really want to swap, but you could buy like, it depends a little bit what you face, but you could be a bit nutty now with more, because you have more conquest points. You could buy stamina, battle master, and PP trinket, so you have a bit more HP, and you can maybe play stun meta gem just to see what you wanna, you know, like depends on what you face obviously, but because you're gonna be a bit more tanky. Like for example, into rogue mage, it's kind of probably your most hardest matchups you can face as an elder shaman. And yeah, I will show this a bit quick, and then we will go a bit about rotation, how you do dam, and what to think of, and some small tips and tricks you can think of. But yeah, this is the gear. You can slow it down. So yeah, for damage, pretty much every game you're gonna start depending on what you face, but you kind of always gonna want to look for press your fire early and an NS6. That's kind of that's your prio. That's always you're gonna want to do. And you're gonna want to try have flame shock as many different targets as possible. So in a normal game, you fire LA, you go in, you send an NS Hex, and then you try spread your flame shock. Obviously, in the start is where you're gonna do the most damage. You're gonna have all your proc trinkets, so kinda that's when you're gonna want to pop your unuse with your engineering and tailoring, which is your best professions. You're gonna want to have engineering and tailoring. It's fine to have anything else. I will say engineering and I mean not engineering. Tailoring is kind of mandatory to have in MOP. It's very strong, gives so much stats and increased damage. So when you have all of those up with Jade Spirit from your weapon enchant, it's gonna be your biggest damage. That's when you wanna pump. So in start is when you do the most damage. You're gonna wanna Stormlash with your Fire Ella, and also your teammate is gonna do the most damage as well as possible at that time. But yeah, that's kind of it. Like you just want to spread your flame shock. Always kind of press your lava burst on CD. So now a little bit small tips and tricks that I will give a little bit. It's nothing huge, like, but it's something. So if you face another Elder Shaman, you don't know how to get the grounding down quick. Maybe you're or something, and it's annoying. The best thing I will give you is that you can unleash the ground. Like if you actually press unleash and there's a grounding up, it will remove the grounding and you will still get the buff on the guy. So it's like that's your best. It's your best option to remove the ground. Obviously, pressing a purge is completely fine as well. If this is on CD or whatever, like it doesn't really matter too much. Another thing as well is to how I kind of get my Warrior's Reflex. Like Warrior Reflect is very annoying for Elder Shaman to get away. So the best thing you can do is to use your shear. You can shear it off. Like you just press shear on the reflect, on the mass reflect, or normal reflect, and it will be gone. That's kind of your biggest thing. Also, the last trick I have a little bit is, as a shaman, it's kind of bait to kick lava burst. I mean, it's good to kick lava burst, but if you do get a proc, it resets your kick, which is very nice. So sometimes what you can do, let's say if you do get kicked on lava burst and you know there's no kick, let's say you've been kicked on shaman now, like now you cannot cause lava burst. You can actually, you can actually reset it by pressing Ascendance. So if you Ascendance, you actually can reset, like you can bait a kick by tanking on lava burst, and then you press Ascendance, and then you can kind of free cast if there's no, if there is no kicks. I can as well kind of like having my macro Spearwalker's Grace into my Ascendance, because that's when you're gonna do obviously the most damage. You don't have to have it, but I kind of like having it into my Ascendance macro. Let's see, where is my Ascendance macro? Yeah, here it is. So yeah, this is kind of the macro I have for my Ascendance. I don't really have any special macros, like most of the things you could find on my stream on Twitch TV CPI. I will link it in the thingy, but you probably already know my Twitch by now, hopefully. And yeah, I mean, there is not too much. I mean, comp-wise, as an El Shaman, you have a lot of good comps. You have Monk Thunder, LMH, you have L-Lock, like play with Druid or Monk. You can even probably play with a Hunter. It's not much more than that, I will say. There are some comps. You can pretty much play with anything. But yeah, I'll recommend you playing Monk Thunder. Is probably your strongest overall. Probably your easiest. LMH is very good if you have your teammate, like the mage is gonna have to be very good. But yeah, more than that, I mean, it's... I mean, if you want to be really nutty as well, you could see, like, you see Rockbiter with Unleash Fury. So sometimes if you do not have anything, like if you're like playing, you know your wall is on CD and you don't have anything to press, you could, if you want to be like, you could be nutty and then use Rockbiter and Unleash. you're gonna take 40% less damage from this target for 5 seconds. And you passively take 10% damage reduced by just or is it 5? Ah, it's 5. You take 5% less damage by default by just having Rockbiter on. Could be annoying to swap around, but if you know you don't have anything and you just have to live, that could be a small thing as well that you can have to live. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for El Shaman. If there's anything you would like to know, you can just type in the comments or type in my stream. I stream kind of often. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching. And yeah, peace out.